All right, there's so many stars out tonight that we actually have a second Star Award recipient and one man who's so well deserving of that recognition. Now, please welcome our second Star Award recipient, Richard Greene.
Michael.
Hey, Richard.
Don't forget to ask me about who to thank.
I won't. All right, Richard, thank you to the band. Aren't they great?
They're terrific.
All right. I'm so excited that you're here tonight to
Me
be
too.
able to talk about the Star Award. You know, it was in 1967 that you and Sylvia moved here to Arlington and you began to build a life here together. Just talk a little bit about that journey.
Well, it's pretty obvious that that's among the very best decisions that Sylvia and I have made in our entire married life, which has now spanned 58 years. And it was our great fortune that we actually came here first in the third year of Six Flags Over Texas operations. It was the destination on our wedding trip. And so when I had an opportunity a couple years later to tell the mortgage company I was working for, who was ready to open a Texas office, I said, I know right where that should be. And so that introduction led to us moving here, and the rest is history.
Well, you know, Arlington, and you came into a community that really does a great job of mentoring people. Mentorship programs, you know, that we have that build the next generations of leaders, and you have one of those today. It's called the Richard Greene Scholars Program. But share with us some of the mentors who helped shape your life in Arlington.
Well, early in my business career, I was in the mortgage business, arrived in a town, fast growing, lots of real estate professionals. I began to move around trying to make connection, meet them. Somehow I made a really great friendship with Ralph Shelton, and he began to help me get acquainted with the rest of the community, and so we developed a great friendship. As far as a mentor is concerned, it will come as no surprise to anyone in this audience that is Tom Vandergriff. Actually, he it's his picture in the dictionary right next to the word mayor. And so he's the consummate role model example of how to lead a city. And so obviously I emulated, tried to his method of service to the community. Nobody, I don't think, will ever rise up to the level of being as good as he was, but he's the one I tried to please.
Well, of course, not a surprise then, you followed in his footsteps and became mayor of Arlington. And you had a bunch of accomplishments, but let's pull a couple out and then we'll talk a little bit more after that. Talk about your efforts to keep General Motors and the Texas Rangers in Arlington.
Well, it was early in my service as mayor when those two challenges arose. And the thing that they had in common were that when General Motors announced that they were going to close some plants around the country, and that the chairman called me and said, you need to prepare your community because it's probably going to be yours. All the automotive media throughout the country, as well as locally, figured, well, Arlington is going to lose its plant. Well, my approach to that was not so fast, and there's probably some things we can do to prevent that from happening and ensure their future here. So we went to work, mobilized the community. The citizens of Arlington were driving around with a bumper sticker that said, keep GM the heartbeat of Arlington. That tied in with their theme at the time of the heartbeat of America. And so we prevailed, and it was just a great thing that we did. The thing that the Rangers Challenge had in common was when that was first announced, I mean, when the ownership change came and the new owners knew that they were going to have a new ballpark, actually both of the Dallas papers, the Dallas Times-Herald was still published at the time, the Dallas Morning News, both on their front page had an announcement that the Texas Rangers would be moving to Dallas. One of their sports writers said, where they belong. And I said, not on my watch. and we're being underestimated, and Arlington can meet this challenge, and we can ensure that we're going to be a major league city from now on.
That's awesome. All right, and you know, all the work that Tom Vandergrift did, all the work that you did, we didn't really have a formal economic development program at the city. So what led you to create the first economic development organization?
Well, it became pretty obvious that having a great location, a wonderful school district, a safe city with law enforcement as a top priority, convenience of being able to move around the city pretty well, that wasn't going to be enough, because just about every other city in the region had those things going for it. And so we realized we need to become competitive. If we were going to attract corporate America to our town, then we needed to be aggressive about that. We needed to go out and pursue those opportunities and make them for ourselves. So we entered into a contract with the Chamber of Commerce that would be our economic development contractor and our partner in that effort. That turned out to be a great success, and for, I don't know, I think that lasted 10, 12 years before the city got big enough to have its own economic development director, still in coordination with the chamber, and we began to set the pace for what is today one of the most aggressive and successful economic development programs anywhere in the region.
Yeah, and thank you, by the way, for your leadership on that. It's greatly appreciated. You know, Arlington, as your 10 years of mayor, Arlington changed dramatically. Obviously, we just talked about some sexy things that you were engaged in, but talk about other things that bring you great pride.
Well, you know, the city during the time that I was in office grew about 100,000 in population. I mean, it was one of the fastest growing cities in the country for cities our size. And so the challenge to provide the continued high level of services that the people of the community expected and deserved. And so just the everyday service delivery program, whether it was improving our road system at the time, we were building about $2 million in road work annually. In a few years, we advanced that to 20 million. We completed Green Oaks Boulevard 15 years ahead of schedule. And so it's just a matter, we increased the parklands of the city to serve the community better. And so just about every category of the way the city serves the people of the community reached new heights. And certainly by the time we had achieved that, then it was set for that to become an ongoing success story in years to come.
Yeah, and we're still benefiting from some of those actions you put in place back in those days. We appreciate your leadership. We also have a video for you. We have some people who want to share some thoughts with you.
All right.
All right.
What a privilege it is for me to be able to recognize and congratulate
It's up here.
Yeah, it's a little
my
hard to
former
see.
colleague on the city council and great leader, Richard Greene. What a fantastic job Richard has done over decades for the city of Arlington, for its people, for the community, for its development. We wouldn't be where we are today without Richard and his efforts, and obviously his better half, Sylvia, and all the work she's done. I am excited for you, Richard. I believe that your mark on our great city is one that is indelible, and what you've done and the way you've done it has been with class all the way.
Well, I'm very excited tonight to be talking about Mayor Richard Greene. And of course, he is going to be receiving the Star Award, the Chamber's highest honor, given for community service. And when you think about community service, that is synonymous with Richard Greene. What a fantastic person who has continued to be dedicated and passionate about Arlington, Texas. He continues to work, and what remarkable work he did, not only as mayor, but afterwards. We will always be indebted to both Richard and Sylvia Greene for all the many things they did, and it's a real honor to get to say thank you, Richard, for all the many years of work here, and thank you for the role model and the mentorship that you've given to me and so many others to make a difference in Arlington, Texas.
Man, it's really great to be here in this brief moment and get a chance to say personally how delighted and proud I am for Richard Greene to be receiving the highest honor the Chamber gives, the Star Award. I had the privilege and pleasure of working firsthand with him during 8 of his 10 years as mayor, as his business partner at the Vandergrift dealerships that we ran together. And so I appreciate him from that perspective as well. And I can honestly say that with truth that I have worked with every mayor in the entire 64 years I've been on this earth, and he is the best. He is not only the star as he is for the chamber, but the gold standard for what public service should always be about. And the efforts that he made at Arlington for them in a crucial period between 1987 and 1997 just really set this community on a huge path.
Okay.
All right, well-deserved comments, and we have for you your Star Award. Let's bring this out. There you
That's
go.
terrific.
Thank you
That's
very
wonderful.
much. And I'll go ahead and keep it for you so you
Okay.
don't have to lug it around. We'll set it there. Richard, do you want to thank some folks?
Well, yeah, thank yous would be, take the rest of the evening to really do justice to it. But let me first of all express appreciation for the people of Arlington for giving me the privilege of being the mayor of the greatest city in the country. And that was maybe my first thank you. Right kind of as a tag on to that, I also want to recognize how the voters stepped up in 1991 in record numbers and in record majorities approved the initiative to build the ballpark in Arlington. And actually, their decision to make that happen is why you see all of this entertainment district underway the way that it's happening now. And so thanks to those optimistic, can-do spirit voters of our city who've consistently said, yes, we will. And then I've got to tag on to the comments that those 3 friends made about my wife. When I was elected mayor, Sylvia, who had served in leadership roles throughout the school district, president of the PTAs in our kids' schools, and then on the local board. She moved on to serve statewide as a member of the State Board of Education, the state PTA, I should say, and she was in line to be president of the Texas PTA, and I got elected mayor, and so she came home and became First Lady, and our community could not have been prouder and better off for that. And then when the work began on the development of River Legacy Park and the Nature Center, she went to work with a team of some helpers to do something that everybody around us thought couldn't be done, which is to raise $4.5 million to build the Nature Center. And one of those co-workers who was by her side throughout that fundraising effort is Joyce Bavoni, and she's in our table over here tonight as one of our great friends. So thanks to all those folks and so many more.
All right, thank you, Richard, very much. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay.
Well deserved with the Star Award. Let's give Richard a big round of applause.